Hi guys, it's Daymi Pelaez. We're going over measurement, which is section A of the BCBA 4th edition task list. I'm going to move on to my disclaimer. ABA Exam Academy was created by and for students to earn their BCBA, BCABA certification. Most of the leaders and participants are not a BCBA, BCABA at this time. These meetings are meant to have active discussions to collaborate, ask questions, and provide helpful suggestions to better understand the BACB 4th edition task list concepts. Due to this, it is important to know that all viewers and participants are responsible to verify the accuracy of the information being provided in order to prepare for the exam. Okay, number one of our ethical considerations are refrain from sharing any BCBA, BCABA test questions, refrain from sharing any paid resources or specific identifiable client information. And if you're sharing any type of open resources, peer-reviewed articles, or books, please give credit to the author. The rules in our meetings are to make sure to mute your microphones if you're not speaking, allow the leader and all participants in turn to speak, make sure to be respectful to others and refrain from using any inappropriate language, and as always, have fun. All right, our agenda for today, I'm mostly going over, I want to see if you guys know it by heart, IOA. And also, we're going to go over quickly the definitions of accuracy, reliability, validity, and believability. And then we're going to go over continuous measurement versus discontinuous measurement, and then finally, choice measures. All right, so we're going to move along to A8, which is Assess and Interpret Interobserver Agreement. Okay, so what is IOA and what does it mean? Who can tell me what does IOA stand for?
Observer agreement?
Inter-observer agreement?
Yes, inter-observer agreement. Okay, does anybody want to tell me in their own words what that means before we do the actual definition?
It's the extent to which two or more observers report the same, measure the same events, and it's as close as to like what actually happened.
Exactly, perfect. Okay, so I have here the degree to which blank, which you said it. What is it? What's the amount?
2 or more.
2 or more, perfect. Independent observers report the blank. What do you guys think goes there?
Events observed.
Same observed values. So we're never going to measure different values. It's always going to be the same. And then after measuring the blank events.
Same.
Yes. Seems tricky, but it's very simple. So let's see if you guys get it. All right. What does IOA do? Agreement, blank, believability that the data is blank. What does it do? I'm sorry?
Reliable?
The last one will probably be reliable.
Agreement increases believability that the data is accurate.
Data is trustworthy.
I think I heard someone say increases.
Yes.
And the data is trustworthy. Very good. Okay, so what does IOA do? It's an agreement that increases the believability that the data is trustworthy. Very good. All right, so can someone tell me the 4 benefits and uses of IOA? So we have them here. We're just going to fill in the blank really quickly. This is in Cooper. I think I have the page number here. It's page 126 of, it starts off on page 126 of Mayer, and it starts off on page 113 of Cooper. So number 1 for the benefits, detecting the blank of new observers. What does it detect?
It's not naivety, is it?
The ability?
The competence.
Competency?
The competence, very good. So we're gonna make sure that they know what they're doing. That's what we're doing in IOA, okay? For number 2 is detecting what?
Drift.
Observer.
Yes, perfect. Drift, observer drift. So then the third one is, these are a little bit more complicated, but it's blank or blank of the confidence that the target behavior was. Let's start off with those. These two are kind of like the definition.
Believability.
I'm going to give you the first one. It increased or what?
That decreases the confidence.
Perfect. Increase or decreases the confidence that the target behavior was and not difficult.
Clear.
Yes, perfect. All right, number 4, gives confidence that blank in the data is blank.
High levels of IOA. I totally studied today. Oh, the variability. Oh.
It's okay. In data is, it's a function. Is it a function?
Is not a function.
Not. Implying that changes in blank actually reflect changes in blank.
Changes in independent variable actually reflect changes in the dependent variable.
Let's try those. In the behavior, data actually reflects changes in behavior. Okay, so now that we went through all those fill in the blanks, let's read it, okay? Someone volunteer to actually read number 1.
Detecting the competence of new observers.
Perfect. Number 2. Anyone?
Detecting observer drift.
All right, number 3.
Increase or decrease of confidence that the target behavior was clear and not difficult.
Okay, number 4.
Gives confidence that variability in data is not a function, implying that changes in data actually reflect changes in behavior.
Good. Okay, because we were kind of stuck on all those fill in the blanks, so I'd want to go through it smoothly. That way we can get in there and hopefully, cross our fingers, pass this exam. Okay? All right. What are the 3 requisites for obtaining valid IOA? Observers must use the same what? Blank system.
Measurement system.
System.
Yes. Measure the same blank. What else?
Participants.
Events.
Events. And be what?
Independent.
Be what?
Independent.
Independent.
Independent. Perfect. All right, that was smooth. That was good. All right, tell me the methods of calculating IOA. So we have event recording type of IOA, timing duration type of IOA, and then we have time sampling interval recording. Who can tell me the 4 event recording IOAs?
Total count.
Total count is 1.
Mean count per interval IOA.
Good.
Exact count.
Exact count.
Total duration.
Trial by trial.
Total duration is part of another one. Trial by trial, yes. All right, now let's go to timing duration. Which one goes in here?
Mean duration per interval.
Per occurrence.
Per occurrence, yes. And then the other one? I think you said it, Minerva.
Total duration.
Yes, ma'am. Total duration. All right, finally we have 3 more, which go under time sampling and interval recording.
Interval by interval.
Scored and unscored.
Perfect. Scored and unscored. Awesome job, guys. You did good. All right, now is the tough part. All right, we're gonna go over all of these, and I want to see if you guys need your books. Take them out. This is all about fluency. So we're gonna go over them. Just basically, you guys telling me what you have to do to get the answer. Okay, what do you have to do here for total count IOA? We do what? What do we do to get the answer?
The smaller amount divided by the larger amount times 100.
Perfect. So it's the smaller number divided by the larger number multiplied by 100. That was great. Who was that?
Alicia.
Nice job, Alicia.
Thank you.
All right, who wants to go for mean count per interval, IOA?
That is the average of each interval over the total number of intervals times 100.
Yes. So basically, I reworded it in a different way, but it's exactly what you said. So add all IOA percents per interval, and then divide it by the total number of intervals. Perfect.
I've heard another name for that calculation that you do, but basically you divide the smaller interval, like the smaller number by the larger number, but for each interval.
Yes, it's every interval here. We're looking at every interval. You can either add all of them, or you can do like you said, you divide the smaller one by the larger one, and then figure out all the percentages, add them up, and then divide them by the number of intervals. Does everyone understand? This one's a little bit more complicated, but
You're just doing the one that we just did, that like the total duration, you're gonna just do it per interval. So like the hint that I gave myself was it's mean that they make us go line by line to get the mean duration per occurrence. Extra work.
that's good.
And I think what confuses me too when I'm going through it is that, especially when it's when it's mean count, like if it's 0 and 0, that's actually 1, not.
Yes.
I think that's where I get confused a lot. Or even if it's like the same number, like 3 and 3, like that's 1. That's easy.
Right. But that's a good tip. That would throw someone off. Thank you for sharing that. All right, now we're going to move to exact count per interval IOA. Does anybody want to go for this one?
Number of agreements over total intervals.
Yes. Good job. So number of intervals with 100%. Oh, I think you missed that part. So this one's with 100% agreement times 100% over total number of intervals. So here you're looking at which ones met 100%. And then you're adding them and dividing by the total number of intervals. You guys understand that?
No, can you say it again?
Yeah, so here it has to meet 100%. So it's the number of intervals with 100%. So if there's 2 intervals that have 100%, then you grab those, you add them, you multiply by 100, and then you divide it by the total number of intervals. So let's say there's 5 intervals, but there's only 2 that have 100%. You understand? You're not gonna do all of the intervals. You're not gonna add all of those intervals up. You're just gonna get the ones that are 100%.
Yeah, so say, there's 10 intervals, but only 1 interval is at 100% agreement. That would be 1 divided by 10 times 100.
Exactly. You understand, Rita?
I have to look at it. It's one of those things. I studied enough to test, and that's it, honestly.
Right. Well, I mean, this one is basically, like she said, let's say it was just 2 intervals, right? Mm-hmm. And you had one that is 50% and the other one's 100%. You would just grab the one that was 100% and then divide it by 2.
Okay, the 50 and the 100.
No, not the 50.
So where's the 2 coming from?
Because there's
2 intervals.
Right, so that's what I meant by 50 and 100.
Right. Mm-hmm. Exactly. So then it would end up being 50. Yes, you're right. It would end up being 100%. That's the final result. But you're really just grabbing the ones that are 100%, pulling them out, adding them together, and then dividing by the total. So if the total was 10 intervals, it would be 100. You're putting that 100 out and dividing it by 10 instead of 2 like we talked about before.
Right. Okay. Makes sense. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Now let's do trial by trial.
Amy, real quick, because I know that I brought this up in the chat, and I was working on like my PowerPoint and whatnot, and it's mean count per interval. Like if observer 1 did not observe the event or the behavior, and observer 2 did not observe it, so you have a 0 and a 0. If you're
Right.
calculating, each interval, it would be 0 divided by 0 times 100 would give you 0. But in that case, like if you're doing, like, it would be an agreement, so it would actually be 100%, right?
Exactly. Yes.
So how do you guys explain that? I was trying to like put notes in there, and I couldn't find anywhere where it's talked about that specific case, if it's 0 and 0. Has anybody found it anywhere?
I haven't found that. Have you guys had mock questions that have 0 and 0? Because I've never had that.
I only saw it on Laura's Zoom, and that's where I was like, oh no, because I had put 0%.
Okay.
So I don't know, does it not do? I haven't seen one with 0.
Right, me neither.
I think Bill's mocks, they're not in his actual mocks, but he has just like 2 specific IOA mocks, and I think there's some on there. That's like the greatest practice. I just sat and did those one day, and I kind of just got it, and it helped a lot.
Yeah.
Because he basically gives you a set of data, like one set of data, and then has you collect every type of IOA on that data.
Yeah, he has. Yeah, you're right. He has one that's all about IOA. But that's good that he has the zeros in there. You're saying that he has them?
I'm pretty sure. I don't have it up with me right now, but I'm pretty sure that's where I had to check and look, and and then that's somewhere on when I was doing that, I discovered that yes, 0 over 0 is agreement, so that equals
100%.
Yeah,
right.
100%.
That's good, but those are little tricks that would throw you off. But yeah, that's very difficult to explain, but it is something that happens. So we have to practice. Practice is everything. All right, is everybody good with exact count? Okay, I think we're good. All right, anybody want to go for trial by trial?
That's the number of trials that are agreed with times 100.
Yes.
And then over the total number of
Total
trials.
number of trials. Yes, perfect. Good job, Christina. All right, so number of trials of agreement times 100 divided by the number of trials. Perfect. All right, gonna move on to duration. Total duration IOA. Who wants to take a shot at this one?
That's the shorter times 100 divided by the longer?
Yes. Shorter duration divided by longer duration times 100. Any questions on this one, or is this one pretty easy or self-explanatory? Guys, this is all about practice, so you just gotta find those questions that practice IOA, but we really just have to memorize this. That's why I wanted to go over this with you to drill you guys. Are we good here?
Yes.
All right.
Yep.
Mean duration per occurrence on IOA.
So here you want to figure out the total duration IOA for each response. And then you add up all those percentages and divide by the total number of occurrences or responses. So if there were 5 different responses, you would divide by 5.
Perfect. All right, so when I went over this, I noticed that it's very similar, and correct me if I'm wrong, very similar to mean count per interval IOA. Just basically we're adding here duration. So it is, you add all duration IOAs per interval and then divide it by the total number of intervals. So like she said, you grab all the percentages of the duration and then you add those up and then divide it by the number of intervals. You guys understand?
Yes. So it's basically doing the same thing as mean count per
Right.
interval, except you're looking at a different type, a different data set. Instead of looking at occurrences, you're looking at durations.
Perfect, exactly. Exactly. While I was studying it, I said, wait a second, I already went through one like this. And then when I went up and I was looking, I said, it's identical. They're exactly the same. The only thing, it's a different type of data set. Exactly. Right. So you can do it like we were talking before about the mean IOA is get the smaller number and divide it by the larger number, and then add those, divide them, and then multiply by 100, and then just add all of them, and then divide it by the number of intervals. So if you have 10 intervals, it will be divided by 10. If it's 5 intervals, divided by 5. Does anybody have questions on this one? We are on this one. Duration. Good? We can move on. Okay.
Wait, what was the last one? I'm sorry.
The last one was mean duration per occurrence. Do you have any
Yeah.
questions?
No. Okay.
Okay. All right, we're gonna move on to interval by interval. Who wants to go for this one?
Okay, so you would use interval by interval if you were looking at time sampling data, and you would go put the number of total agreements over number of total intervals observed times 100.
Perfect, that was great. All right, so it's number of intervals both observers are in agreement times 100 divided by total number of intervals. Okay, so this is very important. You have to make sure that both observers are in agreement, okay? And then divided by the total number of intervals. Are we good here? Any questions on this one?
Nope.
All right, then we're gonna go to scored and unscored. Who wants to go for scored?
I can do this one. And this one, you count up all the ones that there was an agreement in the scoring, top number,
Mhm.
and then your bottom number is in all any interval that was scored altogether, whether it was one or both. If it was none, you don't count it, and then you divide it.
Multiple.
You divide it into the smaller number, right?
Okay,
Or the other way around. I'm just
it's okay. You're really close. Go ahead. Someone want to help?
Scored, scored is you take the number where it was agreed upon that the behavior occurred,
right.
over total number of agreed upon that it occurred. So for the top part, it's going to be any interval, any interval where there was a occurrence observed, even if it wasn't by both observers, and then you're going to divide that by the number of intervals where both observers agreed upon it.
Wait, that's flipped, right?
Yeah, I think that's flipped.
Yeah, I thought both. Wait, no, maybe not. I thought both recording was on top, and as long as the number on the bottom was as long as one of them said it occurred.
Yes.
That's what.
No. On the top, it's going to be where one of them said it's occurred. On the bottom, it's going to be. Oh no! You're right. My brain's list off because it's late at night. You're right.
Guys, this is good. These discussions get us learning. If we don't get it wrong, we're not going to learn. So this is a great discussion. Okay. So yes. So let's go over it. Okay. Number of intervals both observers recorded occurrence times 100 divided by number of intervals at least once observer recorded the occurrence. Okay. At least one recorder. I'm gonna make it real big.
Yes, and this is tricky because a lot of times when I do this, I want to do it by the total number of intervals. But no, like if there was an interval where both observers agreed there wasn't an occurrence, then you don't include that interval.
Right. All right, this one's kind of tricky. I mean, well, scored and unscored, a lot of people confuse them, but you guys understand it. You just gotta figure out which one goes with what and all that. So, like I said, practice, practice, practice. You guys got it. All right, we're gonna go over unscored, and then if you guys wanna maybe talk about the difference between both of them, then we can break that down. Unscored interval, IOA.
That's both, no, yeah. Top is both recorded where behavior didn't occur.
Right.
Times 100 over at least one recorded a non-occurrence.
Good. Very good, Christina. So this one is basically the same as the other one, but this one focuses on non-occurrence. Okay, let's highlight that real quick. Okay, so it's number of intervals both observers recorded non-occurrence times 100% divided by number of intervals at least one observer recorded non-occurrence. So like I said, basically right here we have the word occurrence for scored, okay? And then we have, for unscored, we have non-occurrence, okay? Does everyone understand that, the difference between both of them?
Yes.
Where one is occurrence and the other one is non-occurrence.
Daymi, can you make the font so that the 100 is right on the same line, please?
Sure. I can make it a little smaller. There you go. Good?
At least one
Thank
observer.
you.
Yeah, both of them are at least one. Both
Yeah,
of them.
it's just a typo on that
Oh, I'm
one.
sorry. My fast typing gets to me. Okay, so both of them are at least one, and then we just got to focus on which one's occurrence, which is scored. And then the way I usually think about it is when it's, since this one says un, I automatically relate un with non. Okay, so that's how I think about it. And then, you know, if it's scored, obviously it doesn't have the word un, so that's how I know which one goes with what. All right, are we good on this? Can we move on?
Yes.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions before I go into the next one? Okay. All right, we're gonna go over A9, evaluate the accuracy and reliability of measurement procedures. So I just basically, all I did for this section was definitions, because I wanted to go over IOA and make sure you guys know what to do with each of them. So I just wanted to make sure you guys understand the definitions of each of these. So with measurement procedures, we have believability, reliability, accuracy, and validity. Who can tell me what is believability? We just spoke about it for IOA.
Reliable measures?
It helps the like whoever's reading the data or the study and whatnot know that the data is trustworthy.
Good, that's the word I was looking for, trustworthy. Okay, so makes others believe that the data is trustworthy. Very good. All right, anybody for reliability?
But you get the same score over and over again?
Perfect. Repeated outcomes of measures of the same event. Good job. This is Claudia, right?
Yes, it's me.
Okay, good job.
Thanks.
Just want to make sure I'm saying the right name to the right voice. All right, accuracy. Who can tell me that one?
Measurement of true values.
It's the extent to which which the observed value matches the true value.
Good. Good job. Outcome matches the true value. Good job, Alicia and Alicia, or you say Alicia or Alicia?
I say Alicia.
Alicia. Okay, so Alicia and Vanessa, good job. All right, validity. Who wants to go for that one?
It's the extent to where what you're being measured is actually what you're, you know, what you said.
Okay, and it needs, what does it need? It needs what? It needs to have social what?
Social validity, target behavior, right?
Right. So it's
Relevant.
relevant measurement for target behavior. Very good. Awesome, guys. All right, we're going to move on to 8.12 and 8.13. 8.12 is design and implement continuous measurement procedures, and 8.13 is design and implement discontinuous measurement procedures. Okay? We're just going to compare and contrast them. So can anybody tell me what are the types of continuous measurement procedures? The different types, just throw them out.
Event recording.
Okay. Anyone else?
Latency? Is that what you mean? Timing?
Yeah, just say whichever ones. Go into details.
Duration?
IRT.
IRT, duration,
Rate?
Mm-hmm.
Frequency?
Good. I think you guys got most of them. All right, so frequency, duration, event recording, which falls under that, timing, time sampling, and the list goes on. So it has a clear what. So what is continuous measure? These are all like facts about continuous measurement procedures. It has a what? Blank and
Beginning.
blank.
Clear beginning.
Beginning and end.
Clear and end. So it has a clear beginning and ending, and it measures blank behavior. What does it measure?
Continuous.
Continuous measurement procedures measures what type of behavior?
Discrete?
Free operand.
Oh, yeah.
Discontinuous behavior. It's the opposite. All right. What are the types of discontinuous measurement procedures? Well, now we're going to do the same thing we did here over here. Tell me, what are the types of discontinuous?
Partial interval,
Yeah.
whole interval, and momentary time sampling.
Perfect. All right, so partial, whole, momentary, play check, which falls under time sampling methods. All right, so same thing that we did here, we're going to do it here. These are facts. Does not require much blank complete. What does it not require much of?
Time?
Time. Good. Does not require much time to complete. And then can produce what? What can it produce?
Measurement artifacts.
Yes, artifacts. And then it measures what?
Continuous behavior.
Mhm.
Oh, the measure continues. That's what I said. I'm sorry. Typo again. Okay, and then what is a blank operand?
Free operand.
Free operand, and then it has a blank beginning and ending.
Yeah.
Clear, yes.
Clear beginning.
Discrete, I'm sorry. Discrete. Got confused. So it's discrete beginning and ending, and then I heard someone say that, and I didn't put it on here, and I should have. So what does it measure? If this one measures, if continuous measurement procedures measures discontinuous behavior, what does discontinuous measurement procedures measure?
Continuous.
Exactly. So it's opposite. Always think opposite. Okay.
Can you clarify that? I didn't understand that. I'd never heard that.
So I am not an expert at this, but I looked it up on Cooper, and it is, if you want, I can send out the meeting for Yenny's. She went over measurement about 2 months ago, and she breaks down discontinuous measurement versus continuous measurement very well. She goes into the details on how they're opposites and all of that, so I can send that to you guys later on today.
That would be great. Thank you.
Perfect.
Daymi, you have less than a minute.
Okay, I'm gonna stop and then I'll open a new one. Okay, guys, same link.
Thank
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
No problem.